You never forget the moment someone tells you,
"You'll never work in this town again."
You're never gonna work in this town again.
You know the old saying, you'll never work in this town again, unless they need you.
I remember sitting there thinking, that may be true for you, but I'm just getting started. Hi, I'm Allison Hagendorf. I'm a music journalist, the former head of rock at Spotify, and some people call me the rock star whisperer. I've interviewed hundreds of artists from Ringo Starr and Miley Cyrus to the Foo Fighters and Drake. But my real story didn't start backstage. It didn't start with connections. It simply started because I was the ultimate music fan, and I found a way to turn that passion into my real life. Now I'm here sharing the real behind-the-scenes path of how it all happened and how you can build your path too. If you're figuring out your own next chapter or building a dream from scratch, you are in the right place. And if you're new here, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. This is a community for people who want to live what they love. This is my A&R chapter. Early 2000s, New York City, Columbia Records, major label, dream job. And the best part, I created my own role as assistant to Matt Pinfield. Matt was my hero. I didn't just admire him, I saw a version of myself in him. I wanted to be the female Matt Pinfield. So when I landed at Columbia Records, I made it my mission to meet him. I worked in the jazz department, but I kept pitching. What if I helped Matt too? It took months of nudging HR and workaround proposals, and finally it happened. I became Matt's assistant, and that's where everything really began. So now I'm officially Matt Pinfield's assistant, which meant doing everything. Answering phones, filing expenses, chasing down receipts, and getting his signature in travel forms. But with Matt, that all came with an extra twist because Matt is one of the most beloved humans in the music business. He meets everyone and he remembers everyone. And after every show, every event, every festival, he'd say, "Oh, great to meet you. Call my office and ask for Allison."
Matt Pinfield here, backstage at the Video Music Awards.
Which meant they all did exactly that. And I was drowning in calls from strangers I'd never met. But here's what I realized. It wasn't chaos, it was connection. Every phone call was a potential relationship, and that's lesson number one. There's opportunity in the unglamorous. You never know who's on the other end of the line. All of these messages, they were planting seeds. Artists, managers, journalists, programmers, people I'd one day work with in totally different roles. So if you're doing the grunt work right now, do it with purpose. The connections you make in the mundane might just shape your future. Being close to Matt meant being close to opportunity. When he couldn't make it to a gig or an event, I stepped in. That's how I got my first real shot as an interviewer. South by Southwest 2003, 50 bands, 3 days. And my very first interview ever was with Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lips. Yeah, no pressure, right? Yeah. I was terrified, but once the mic was on, I felt alive. I had found something that just felt natural, innate, like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Lesson number 2, when the door opens, walk through. Even if you're scared, especially if you're scared. You don't need to feel ready. I wasn't, but if I had waited to feel totally confident, I would have missed it. Sometimes the confidence comes after the step, so take the step. As an A&R team, we signed incredible bands. Coheed and Cambria, Kenna, Acceptance, Ecstatic Lullaby. I actually took Ecstatic Lullaby out to dinner the night we signed them. I won't share those details right now, but let's just say, welcome to the music biz. And sometimes we saw greatness before anyone else. Like one night at Don Hill's in New York, a tiny venue, maybe 5 people in the room. The band on stage, the Killers. They were unsigned, raw, unpolished, but you could feel it. Their songs were undeniable. Matt tried to sign them, but they ended up elsewhere. But still, I kept the demo. I keep everything. I held that CD in my hands and I thought, this is what it means to see potential before the world does. Lesson number 3, A&R is about believing before there's proof, seeing the artist before the world catches on. No one knew the killers yet, but I felt it. And that's the whole point of A&R. You don't wait for data or consensus, you trust your gut. You follow the goosebumps. Your job isn't to chase what's working, it's to spot what's coming. If you're in any creative field, this applies to you too. Be the person who sees it before the world does. Believe early. That's where the magic lives. I loved working with Matt. I was learning so much, but after a couple of years, I started to feel stuck. The company wasn't going to promote me. I had made myself too useful where I was. They needed me with Matt. Now, Matt vouched for me. He pushed for me, but nothing changed. So I made a decision. I walked into the higher-ups office and I said, "Thank you, it's been an honor, but I'm moving on." He looked at me and said, "If you leave, you're taking yourself off the map." And I smiled and I said, "Noted, but I'm just getting started." Lesson number 4, when growth stops, it's time to go. Trust your gut, not someone else's timeline for you. I was learning and then I wasn't. You're not meant to stay small just because you're good at something. Comfort can be a trap. Even love can be a trap. If you're not evolving, you're standing still, and you weren't built to stand still. I joined Epic Records as a full-fledged A&R exec, and now I had my own assistant, but there was no Matt to lean on, no safety net, just me. That's when I found Juliette Simms, now known as Lilith Czar. She was 16. I flew her to New York, and I just knew. One of the best voices I had ever heard. We clicked instantly. She became my very first signing, and I became her biggest champion. At one point, I was her label rep, booking agent, manager, everything. She slept in my studio apartment, we sold merch, we built it from scratch together, we did it all. Lesson number 5, champion someone and fight for what you believe in. Juliette wasn't just a talent, she was a movement, and I backed her with everything I had. You don't need to be an A&R to champion someone. It could be a friend, a colleague, a partner, or yourself. If you see something special, say it, show up. That belief could be the bridge someone's been waiting for. After signing Juliette, I had my eye on a few other artists. One of them, Katy Perry.
All I want is a friend.
She had just been dropped by Columbia, and I knew that this girl was a star. Her raspy alto voice, her offbeat charm, that zany DIY vibe, she had it, and I was all in. But when I brought her up, I was told, "You already signed a young female, she's too close to Juliette." And just like that, it was a no. I was frustrated, not just for me, but for her. The idea that there's only room for one woman at a time, that's not just outdated, that's damaging. But I had to move on, so I shifted focus, and there was this other artist I'd found, a clever, wildly original singer-songwriter with a spark all his own. He was quirky, sharp, a piano player with something different in his DNA. I flew him in to showcase for the label. He played his heart out. He was raw, magnetic, unforgettable. I was already thinking ahead to the record I wanted to make with him, and I could see it. And then my boss leaned over and says, "You've lost your ear." I just sat there, not because I doubted myself, I didn't, but because I couldn't believe that he couldn't see it, that he couldn't hear it. But here's the thing, a title doesn't mean you have vision, and power doesn't equal taste. That artist, his name was Mark Foster. He went on to form Foster the People. So no, I didn't lose my ear. It turns out it was just tuned to the future. Lesson number 6, trust your vision even when others don't. Not everyone will see what you see. That doesn't mean you're wrong, it might just mean you're early. That whole chapter with Katy and Mark Foster, it was a turning point. I was learning to trust my gut even when no one else did. So when the next moment came, I didn't ask for permission, I just followed my instinct. I got to A&R Sacrament, the next album from Lamb of God. I was totally intimidated. These guys were metal gods, but they welcomed me with open arms. During the Redneck video shoot in LA, they said, "Allison, you should be in the video." Next thing I know, I'm rocking cutoffs, a shredded Lamb of God shirt, I'm throwing a dude off the tour bus on camera. It was wild, it was awesome, and it meant something. It was trust, it was connection. But when I got back to New York, I was called into the office and I was scolded. They told me it was unprofessional. And I remember thinking, if I were a guy, would we even be having this conversation? That moment stuck with me because that video, it mattered. It deepened my bond with the band. And when Redneck got a Grammy nom, their very first nomination at that time, I was the one right there on the red carpet with them. Lesson number 7, trust your intuition. Even when it goes against the rules, that's how real connection is built. Getting in trouble for being in the Redneck video taught me something big. Systems are slow to understand the passion, and sometimes we're penalized for doing exactly what we're supposed to do. Build trust, make connection, lean in. I knew what I was doing. I was deepening a bond that would lead to a Grammy-nominated record. So the real lesson, don't let outdated expectations silence your instincts, because when your heart knows, that's the voice to follow. At the same time all of this was happening, I started dreaming up my next move, TV hosting. So I created a show called Mashed Potatoes. 2 bands, 1 kitchen, total chaos. We filmed it at this upscale power lunch spot in Midtown called Michael's. It was Lamb of God, Children of Bodom, Municipal Waste. Metal meets Top Chef, absolute mayhem. And you know what? It was so fun. I still have all the footage and you've never seen it, but maybe it's time. Lesson number 8, sometimes the next chapter is already inside the one you're living. Mashed Potatoes was messy, raw, loud, and it taught me I loved creating, hosting, making something out of nothing. It was a really fun, silly kitchen show, but it showed me what I really wanted. Pay attention to what lights you up, even if it's on the side. That could be the beginning of your real thing. This chapter taught me so much. See value in the grind, create your own opportunities, stay connected to people, not titles, take risks, trust your gut, know your worth. Prioritize connection over transaction, and never burn a bridge, ever. What part of this chapter hit home for you? Drop a comment or just say hi. I would love to hear from you. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Next up, how I turned this messy, magical ride into a career on television. Stay tuned and remember, let kindness be your superpower.